Welcome to this spiritual space. My name is Jacqueline Kairis, and on behalf of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, I welcome you to our worship service here in the sanctuary and streaming online. Arrive and feel safe and accepted here, no matter your race, how you identify, and no matter where you are on your faith journey. If you are new to First U, please check out our website. It is firstuuwilm.org. Today we welcome back Reverend Larry after a much-deserved summer vacation. We are heart-warmed and joyful to see you today. As we prepare for worship, I invite you now to turn in and greet your neighbors, and especially introduce yourself to newcomers.
Thank you, Linda, for that music. Bundle of Joy was the title. I think we could all use a bundle of joy right now. I have such a great joy of being with you this morning and seeing you again. I'm minister here at First Unitarian Church of Wilmington. I have been away for some weeks, so I'm a little out of practice. So I might make some mistakes. And when I do, let's just preemptively say after me, it's all good. All right? 1, 2, 3. It's all good. We have a member that says that very often, so it's like a blessing that she gives to a lot of people. So it's all good. So our call to worship is, you may recognize from a verse from We Laugh, We Cry by Shelley Jackson. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a joy in being together. In our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question, truly is an answer. So may it be. So I have to make an announcement about the loss of a dear and cherished member of our congregation this week. Some of you have heard this and some of you haven't. So our dear member, Marion Sargent, passed away early this week. And she's a fixture in our choir. She's been a long-time member here, serving many roles. She was often in our poetry group. And so we can hold this sadness together. So as I light this candle, let it represent for us the light of Marion Sargent's life that can still warm us, still inspire us, still make us laugh. She had her own particular collection of jokes. And maybe we can let the light that was Marion Sargent, continue to shine in our own memories and through our lives with one another. So let's pause for a moment to be warmed by the memories of Marion Sargent.
If you have a chalice at home, please join us in lighting it as I read these words adapted by Reverend Monica Jacobson Tennyson. Welcome. What you bring, who you are, enriches us all. We say welcome to your joy, your hope, your grief, and your fear, and the parts of you that are not yet ready to be seen and heard. For we are a people of faith, faith in our ability to grow, faith in our capacity to know ourselves and each other deeply. please join us in our first hymn, which is number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
And in the strength
Please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and justice, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Our reading this morning is an invitation. It's an invitation for each of us to pay attention to what are the emotions that have been in our lives over the last several weeks. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster kind of time. So, in this familiar poem by Rumi, we're invited to invite all of those emotions, no matter their joyness or their sadness, invite them into the guest house of our own self. Because each has a role to play in our becoming. So I'd like you to, as I read this reading, to think about what are those emotions that have visited you over these last several weeks. Following this, Jacqueline and I are going to lead a litany of the emotions. We'll be coming down the aisle and inviting you to say that emotion in one word. Offer it aloud. We'll repeat it so that everyone can hear. And then in response, we will say, we welcome. So we welcome joy, or we welcome whatever the emotion is. You'll catch on. Okay. Did I say give us the whole situation that's complicated and whatever? Just the emotion. Okay. That's all we'll take time for now. So, The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Relief. We welcome relief. Joy.
Welcome joy. Hope. We welcome hope.
Sadness.
We
welcome
welcome
sadness. We're alternating. Go ahead.
I didn't hear it.
We're alternating, so just get that side and I'll do this side.
Peace.
We welcome peace. Guilt.
We welcome guilt. Suspense anxiety. We welcome suspense anxiety.
Gratitude. Welcome gratitude.
Awe. We welcome awe.
Forgiveness.
We welcome forgiveness. Loss. We welcome loss.
Love. We welcome love.
Enthusiasm. We welcome enthusiasm.
Excitement. We welcome excitement.
Love. We welcome love.
Frustration.
Grief. We welcome grief.
Acceptance. Welcome acceptance.
Love. We welcome love.
The future. We welcome the future.
Tenacity.
We welcome tenacity. Anger. We welcome anger.
To repeat a word back here, jealousy.
Okay.
Jealousy. We welcome jealousy.
Outrage. We welcome outrage.
Hurt. We
welcome
welcome hurt.
Forgiveness, you didn't mention Marcy Buerley's passing.
Okay. Yes, I didn't know that. So that's not what we're doing right now. So, but he's feeling forgiveness. Forgiveness. Welcome forgiveness.
Anxiousness. We welcome anxiousness.
Melancholy.
We welcome melancholy. Resilience. We welcome resilience.
Civility.
We welcome civility. Commitment. We welcome commitment.
Kindness.
We welcome kindness. Tenacity. We welcome tenacity.
So this being alive is like being in a guest house where we invite so many differing experiences and emotions. Open the door to them. Let them do what they will do within ourselves. Carry them and be carried by them. So let's take a moment now, holding all of these emotions that we've heard from one another, and be that guest house for one another right now with all of these emotions present. Are there some particular sorrows that you are holding that you'd like to mention in this room?
Marcy Buerley, a member, we didn't mention that she had.
That's right. So Marcy Berlin died, and her service will put the notice in the e-news about that service. Next Saturday. Thank you. I wasn't sure if it had been mentioned already. Okay. Anything else? A sorrow that you're holding? Marianne Sargent, for sure. Loss of friends. I can't hear. That's it. All right. We'll just take that. Okay. All right. Any joys that you want to mention? Kamala.
Kairis from Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
And further that, he's here because he was flown in for a film festival that he was sponsored, which is pretty darn cool.
Nice.
It went well into the evening.
Okay, great.
Family reunions.
Uh-huh.
Summer camp.
Great. So let's sing together our song for meditation, Comfort Me. The words will appear on the screen.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
For our reading today, it's understanding our inner world through Inside Out 2. Inside Out fans last saw 11-year-old Riley and joy, fear, sadness, and anger, disgust, aka the 5 core emotions in the headquarters of her brain, finally accept her feelings in the conclusion to Pixar's beloved Oscar-winning 2015 film. In return, she received a brand new expanded console control board. On it flashed a red emergency light labeled puberty. "What's puberty?" asked Disgust. "It's probably not important," says Joy. 2 Pixar years later, or 9 years in real time, Riley is 13 and puberty is proving pretty important indeed in Inside Out 2, a sequel by Dave Holstein and Meg LeFauve. Inside her now teenage brain, 4 new emotions are moving in, whether she likes it or not. Envy, aquamarine, and teeny tiny in stature with sparkly big eyes. Embarrassment, bright red and comically large, and always unsuccessfully hiding behind his hoodie. French accented limp noodle ennui, or as she says, what you would call the boredom. And anxiety, arguably the most complicated emotion in the bunch, with frazzled hair and arms full of baggage. But don't be fooled by the twinkles in Envy's eyes or anxiety's raised right off her head eyebrows. These adorable animated characters and everything else in the brain-based film are actually far more complex and neuroscience-based than they seem. The introduction of new emotions in Inside Out 2 mirrors the more complex emotional landscape of adolescence. teenagers become very self-conscious and are highly interested in other people's opinions, leading to the emergence of these more social emotions. Embarrassment, for example, has a distinct facial expression and physiological process, the blush. It makes us aware of other people's judgments and helps protect social norms. Embarrassment is painful to experience, but it's essential to our social lives. Envy, on the other hand, can drive us to achieve more, provided it's the benign form rather than the malicious kind that leads to undermining others. Anxiety, perhaps the most relatable and challenging emotion for many viewers, was portrayed with particular care. Dr. Lisa D'Amour, a psychologist, was a consultant on the film. She explained how anxiety, often seen as a negative emotion, can be protective and motivating. Anxiety can tip into unhealthy territory if you use it to justify illogical decisions. However, she emphasized that anxiety can also be a tool, helping us to pay attention and make better decisions. Inside Out 2 offers a unique opportunity to discuss the therapeutic implications of understanding and managing our emotions. By personifying emotions, the film makes it easier for viewers of all ages to recognize and articulate their feelings. This aligns with several therapeutic practices that encourage clients to identify and express their emotions as a step toward healing. The film can help demystify the emotional turbulence experienced throughout life, fostering a more compassionate and informed approach to supporting people in understanding and managing their inner worlds.
Thank you, Jacqueline. So last year, I invited people over the summer to watch the movie Oppenheimer so that I could reflect in a sermon on that movie. And of course, that movie was about J. Robert Oppenheimer, the American theoretical physicist who helped develop the first nuclear weapons during World War II. The movie was a lot to take in, especially on the big screen when the testing of the bombs and the dropping of the bombs occurred. The character was very complex, particularly as I read the book American Prometheus, in which the book was written, the movie was based on. Now, some other colleagues decided to preach on Barbie last summer. Came out around the same time. And as you, Yeah, I'm getting to that. So, as you may recall, there seemed to be a competition between the two movies that summer, Barbenheimer. One meme even presented the competition in kind of electoral map, where which film was most popular would show up in a particular color. So the Oppenheimer film was beige on the map. Those states were beige, and Barbie, of course, those were pink, yes. So this summer, I think we've been obsessed with another electoral map, so I'm not even going there. But given all this, I felt drawn towards this newish Pixar film, Inside Out 2, that came out this summer. It's an intriguing and it's a delightful movie, and even if you haven't seen it, I'm going to draw from some themes, and I think it can have some personal and spiritual relevance for us. In Inside Out 2, you've just heard, we encounter the inner and the outer life of a recently turned 13-year-old girl, Riley, who was trying out for a place on the hockey team, is experiencing all the angst of adolescence the self-consciousness as she tries to fit into a peer group, even when it causes tension with her previous friends and within herself. She persists to find her place where she belongs. Especially delightful were the animated characters of the images of the various emotions which were making their debut in Riley's inner life and trying to be managed by that inner control panel. As we heard, there was the aquamarine envy, the bright red embarrassment with the hoodie, the limp noodle ennui, and this new emotion, this new character that seemed to dominate much of the action in the film, anxiety, who appears with frazzled hair and arms full of baggage. We did have some images, but we don't have the right to show them, so I can't put those on the screen. But if you saw the movie, you might be able to remember that character. Now, let's face it, there's a lot that's been weighing down on our hearts and minds these days. The chaotic, confusing, and ever-changing election landscape is only one of them. And in the landscape of our own individual and collective lives, I suspect that anxiety, showing up with its accompanying baggage of fear and vigilance and worry, to name a few, is certainly in our inside-out atmosphere. Although the circumstances of a young adolescent girl's life as depicted in the film may seem so far from our own experience, I'm going to scan the congregation for a moment and just see. Yeah, I think for most all of us, it's far from our own experience. The emotional dynamics, as depicted in these animated images, may seem all too familiar, whatever our age. All of us, of whatever age we are managing our emotional life for better or worse each day, every moment of the day. Perhaps the volatility of emotions, the self-consciousness and the social awkwardness that Riley experiences may be far away from our own personal experiences right now. We may still recall the turmoil of that time in our own lives and some of the residue that it may have left within us. And we may know these experiences in our children or our grandchildren or other young people that we're aware of. Now, if I asked you, would you ever want to be a teenager again? I want you to just turn to a person next to you and say either yes or no. Oh, yeah, or no way. Just. All right. Then if I ask you, would you ever want to be a teenager in this day and age? Yes or no? Speak to your... Okay. All right. How many yeses did you hear? Do we hear any yeses in the room? A few? Yes? Okay. All right. Great. How many of you heard mostly no's? Yeah, and there's probably a reason for that. Now, if you think adolescence doesn't really involve you anymore, I want to expand your horizon just a little bit. In describing adolescence, Dan Siegel, the pioneer in what's called interpersonal neurobiology, that will be on the exam, so remember that, points out in a wonderful book called Brainstorm, it's about the adolescent brain, that our brains grow throughout childhood, adolescence, and throughout the lifespan. And he states that the essence of healthy ways of living throughout the lifespan spell the word essence. E-S-S-E-N-C-E. The E and S stand for emotional spark. And what he's pointing out to us in his talking about adolescence is that these ways of living apply to all of us. We get a kind of ramp into it during adolescence, which he also calls adult essence. So we never lose that need to develop the essence. So ES, the emotional spark, honoring these important internal sensations that are more intense during adolescence, of course, but serve to create meaning throughout our life. So we want to always hone that capacity to recognize that emotional spark within us. Following me so far? Just say yes. Okay. The SE, in essence, stands for social engagement. The important connections that we have with others that support our journeys throughout life with meaning, meaningful and mutually rewarding relationships. Adolescents are oftentimes trying to start and find themselves in those kinds of relationships, in all of their awkwardness, all of their emotional turmoil that accompanies it. But social engagement is for us to stay alive in our essence throughout our life, is an important thing to cultivate, social engagement. N, in essence, is novelty. How we seek out and create new experiences that engage us fully, stimulating our senses, emotions, thinking, and bodies in new ways and challenging ways, of course, go along with adolescence, but they're also part of our continuing development of our own essence. How many of you have had a novel experience recently? You don't have to tell us what it is. Okay, something new that you experienced. Okay, great. So that allows us to keep tapping into and honing our essence, the N in essence. And the last part of that word, essence, CE, stands for creative explorations. This is our development of our conceptual thinking, our abstract reasoning, our expanded consciousness, and it creates a gateway for us to see the world in new ways. It's definitely part of the adolescence experience, but it's also part of the essence of our human experience throughout our time, our lifetime, to keep doing those kind of creative explorations. So it can be like a little checklist for us, that word essence. Let's review it again. Emotional spark is the ES. Social engagement, novelty, and creative exploration. Adolescence is also the adult essence of who it is that we are. Now, although adolescence or nurturing adolescence may seem so far from our experiences right now, contemporary adolescents are living in a world that's dramatically different from our own, especially in recent years. And we need to recognize this difference because we've been complicit in creating the kind of environment that adolescents are living in, and we are responsible for making adjustments that might make that experience for them much better, whatever our age. When I say we, I mean each of us individually, but also mean us as a congregation. Some of you may have heard that challenging and controversial book by John Haidt entitled The Anxious Generation, How the Great Rewiring of Children is Causing an Epidemic in Mental Health. Have you heard of that book? Yes, okay. So he makes some strong arguments here in the kind of world that we have created for our adolescents. But also, we're part of that same world, and some of the impact of that impacts us no matter what our age. So he explores the personal, the psychological, the neurological, the social, and even spiritual impact in that the increase of the use of being a phone-based culture in which smartphones and other technologies have a hold on all of us. The impact, in particular, in the research, the significant rates of depression and anxiety, self-harm, and suicide among adolescents. in what is particularly alarming and very deserving of our attention. In many cases, some of these rates of anxiety and depression have doubled since the wider use of smartphones and social media, with all of its pervasive and subliminal ways of changing the social lives, the emotional lives, and the spiritual lives of children and youth has occurred. So, as pointed out in the movie Inside Out 2, and as Haidt explains, early puberty is a period of rapid brain rewiring, second only to the first few years of life. There's a lot of growth that happens in those first 5 years in particular of our life. So we are doing a lot of rewiring as adolescents. Neuropruning, myelination are occurring at a very rapid rate, guided by an adolescent's experiences. So the kinds of experiences they have contribute to the kind of work or rewiring that is happening in their brain. So the type of experiences that help form an adolescent's brain should be our concern. As those who guide them, who care for them, who nurture them, whatever our role. And each of us can have a role as a people that care, as a congregation, at enhancing the kind of social and spiritual experiences that are available to adolescents and to ourselves, who are part of creating that spiritual and social environment. There are at least 2 areas of experience blockers that Haidt mentions. One is what he calls a decline of play-based childhood, and what he often calls safetyism, like an overprotection of children that doesn't allow them to take any risks. We block them from overcoming anxiety, or children learn to manage risk when they have these open playing experiences and have an opportunity for self-governing, all of which are essential for becoming healthy and competent adults. We overprotect. We create an environment of safety that doesn't allow those skills to come forward. Jackie, are you still here? Jackie was here the last few times I was at the church working with some children in the parish hall and for a sewing camp. It was so wonderful that they were having that experience of agency, of creating something together, of, in a sense, taking risks, of making mistakes and not feeling so overprotected. So that's just one area which I won't go into, but it's an area of blocking the kind of experiences that lead to the development of the self, both socially and spiritually for the adolescent. The other kind of experience blocker is smartphones, excessive time online. The average teen reports spending more than 7 hours a day on screen-based leisure activities, not including school and homework. Let that sink in. Some of you are in that range as well, but don't feel any. If you're feeling shame, let's just say welcome shame, everybody. Welcome shame. Okay? So think about it. Through social media, they are encountering strangers and algorithms that are impacting and shaping their own experiences rather than the real world. Following me here? Okay. So this has implications for brain development, social and emotional life, and in case you haven't already realized it, our democracy as well, because many of the things that we see influence our opinion, and we are oftentimes reinforcing those opinions, and we are living in our own world, not realizing the world can be much more complex than the posts that come on our own newsfeed. We don't have to look at the opinions or the ideas that are not, we don't have to interact with them, so we choose what to like. Now, lest you think I'm a Luddite or an anti-technology fanatic, I want to assure you that that's not the conclusion that I'm heading for. Instead, I'm with Haidt in recognizing that we can begin to make more responsible choices. Since the inner world and the outer lives of adolescents have been significantly impacted as well as our own, by the world that we've created and by this world of social media and technology, we can shape it moving forward. We can impact the essence of adolescence and our own essence as human beings by the kinds of experiences that we create. For adolescents, where the opinions of peers and others is so important to understanding and developing their sense of self, the likes on social media, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, or Facebook can fall upon a fragile, forming self and rob them of experiences in the real social world, in nature, and in community, or even spiritual communities that enhance who we are. So, we do have some choices that we can make, and Hate is part of a movement of people who want to come up with some new norms about the use of smartphones. So I'll report a little bit on that, and then I want to move into talking about our role in terms of creating a spiritually rich experiences for all of us. So we do have some choices. Parents have noticed that when their children or youth go away to summer camp, let's say, or in some other place visiting a grandparent for 3 weeks, and they aren't allowed, quote unquote, to use their smartphone, that the child that they encounter after those 3 weeks is very different than the child who's always looking down on their phone and interacting with that limited world. They're detoxing during that time. They're letting go of some of that dopamine from those constant pings and connections. And they discover a world that's much brighter and broader than the one that is limited by the screen. And so some parents are organizing around such things as some new norms, like no smartphones before high school. Delaying children's entry into that round-the-clock internet access. Maybe they get a flip phone instead as necessary. But not before 8th or 9th grade, roughly 13 or 14. No social media before 16. When you think about kids going through their most vulnerable period of brain development, before connecting them to a fire hose of social comparison and algorithmically chosen influencers, that they have a little more sense of self. Phone-free schools, where there aren't any phones in the schools, and that has started some places. And then more independence or free play and responsibility in the real world. That's the way children naturally develop their social skills, overcome anxiety, and become self-governing. So beyond these technology and practices and whatever, I think there are other things that we can also be aware of, and that is some of the wisdom from our own spiritual traditions. A phone-based life pulls people downward, and what we're trying to do in our spiritual communities is to contribute to people beginning to look around and having a broader experience of life. In a spiritual community, groups become a cohesive community when they engage in rituals that move them in and out of the realm of the sacred together, rather than in the virtual world where there's no real entering into special time or sacred time. Religious rituals are usually carried out in person with others. He uses this example of, like, imagine going to a Thanksgiving dinner and you getting your plate of food and sitting in a room and having it yourself. And then others are having dinner with them. Those social experiences and rituals are so important for our development, but we've oftentimes narrowed the experiences of youth by inviting them into this virtual world that is so limiting. Our spiritual practices use stillness and science and meditation to calm that monkey mind, But as you know, oftentimes with all of the alerts and distractions and fragmenting consciousness that can occur with smartphones and social media, we're moving away from that sense of silence. So a group of college students that Haidt was teaching, he invited them one afternoon that instead of coming to class, to walk in, he teaches at New York University, to walk into the Washington Square Park without their phones. Of course, that was quite a experience, whatever they went through, no phone, and just experience and write down what their experience was for that afternoon. And he said it was some of the most powerful writing that he had ever seen from those students, because they got to really connect with the awe, mystery, and wonder of nature itself beyond the contained, limiting, looking down action of phones. So in the movie, there is this one character, the sense of self, which is this ball of light that has roots into the experiences of others. And I think this is another important spiritual aspect of development that's so important for us to nurture. I always love the metaphor that I understood years ago of during sometimes in our life, we're carried by the stream of our life, but at other times we're able to stand on the shore of our life and look at that life as it flows on. That begins in adolescence and can be developed and cultivated. That observer, that witness, that being able to step outside of experience. And each person, Mark Nepo writes, is born with an unencumbered spot, free of expectation and regret, free of ambition and embarrassment, free of fear and worry. An umbilical spot of grace. It's this spot of grace that issues peace. Religions have called it soul, Atman, unconscious, the seat of the unconscious, and so forth. But that is an important thing for us to cultivate in the midst of so many things that distract us and lead us away from that. So in our final hymn this morning, it includes this verse by Felix Adler: here on the paths of every day, here on the common human way, is all the stuff the gods would take to build a heaven, to mold and make new Edens. Ours the task sublime, to build eternity in time. Adjustments that we can make now for ourselves and experiences that we can provide for contemporary children and youth can enrich the kind of experience that develop their sense of self, their own soul, and our own capacity as a society as well.
Please, after the service, join us for fellowship, coffee, tea. That'll be right at the back of the sanctuary. And today is the beginning of the Adult Summer Camp, a 3-day event here at church. If you have pre-ordered today's catered lunch, that'll be available at 12 noon in the parish hall. If you have not pre-ordered lunch and would like to join us, please do. There is a $15 per person payment requested to help us defray the cost of a catered lunch. The programming of First U Adult Summer Camp offers education, advocacy, enrichment, and fun. There is much here to help us continue growing, even if we are a little way out from teen years. At the time of my joining First U, about 15 years ago, I was beginning an important developmental stage. I was embarking into midlife. Well, maybe it was young midlife. I was taking on brave changes, starting a new career as a professional counselor, and leaving the Catholic Church, where my husband and I had raised our children. Not unlike a teenager, I had a mix of emotions, some of them fatigue and humility with being a novice in my job. And with First U, it was love at first sight. While I felt somewhat unsettled at the time, this church and community helped me feel accepted and provided a safe place to grow. I wonder, how has this church community been a part of your life and your growth? With that thought in mind, please consider taking this time, as you are able, to make an offering to the church. There are many ways to participate in this. The ushers will come forward with the offering baskets. Additionally, you can use the Chirp Giving app or connect to our website or the church office. These avenues will be shown on the slides during the upcoming music. And please join me in dedicating our offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Please join us in extinguishing the chalice while I read these words by Tara Brock, adapted. What would it be like if I could accept life? Accept this moment and myself, just as is. Now, Adris will come forward to the pulpit for an announcement.
Good morning. I'm Adris Harrell, a member of the marketing outreach team, and we use social media for good. We are asking all members and friends of First U to invite a friend to attend our in-gathering open house service on September 8th. Selfies are ubiquitous in social media because they're effective. So we'd like for you to all take a selfie now to make an effective invitation to your friends. So for those of you with smartphones, please take them out right now and take a selfie. I'm going to take one too, so take out your phones. I don't want to be the only one. After the service, post the selfie to your social media accounts and let people know that they are invited to come check out First U on Sunday, September 8th for our in-gathering open house service. If anyone likes your post and is local, they would be great ones to personally invite. And if you do not have a social media account, your friends would love to receive an email of your selfie along with an invitation. Thank you.
Thanks, Adris. So our benediction are these words from Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed, all truth, its ritual, works of love, its profession of faith, divine living. Let's join together in our closing hymn, Here on the Paths.